So on to building the lower wing for the Banshee pipe. I've already built one, as you can see, so I thought I'd show you the anatomy of the wing itself. This is the top part of the wing. Obviously we have the leading edge and trailing edge. We also have an aileron integrated into it, and as you can see, the aileron control arm aileron control rod is sitting here. This is the part that enters into the fuselage and is obviously controlled by the aileron control arm, which is you can see down in the fuselage there. This is the end part of the spar, which acts as a wing brace that inserts in. We have the a small rib here at the end, which is the only rib throughout the whole wing. We just rely on the structure, the material that covers the wing to create the strength for it, and it is partially symmetrical, so it's a symmetrical airfoil from there to there, and then we have a single skin that forms the trailing edge of the wing and the the aileron, like so, so that the skin folds over and finishes along that line there. This gives a little bit of an undercamber to the rear of the wing, which produces quite a bit of lift over and above a symmetrical wing. So let's get going and start building our lower wing. This one is that's the port side, so we'll be building the starboard side. So let's get cracking. I'll get all the bits we need. So the part we have here is our initial spar, which is the 2mm part, which has a part number of V21. So we've used one of the V21s in the first wing, in the port wing, and we'll use this for the starboard wing. Well, you'll notice that this is actually a little bit too long for the lower wing on the Banshee pipe, but don't worry, because when I cut out the plastics, all should become clear. So P16 is what I'm going for here. I used P17 on the port wing. They are symmetrical parts, so you can use P16 or 17 in either wing. So you'll see on this part that there is here a replication of the cuts at the tip there as scores just there. And we're actually going to cut these out so that we are shortening our plastic part of the brace. So just do that carefully. Using the score as a guide. There we go. So that's now rubbish. You can get rid of that. And this is actually the right length for the brace, as you can see there. So we are going to just loosen up these scores in the plastic. I'm just going to run my knife down the score. Sorry for the creaking sound, that's my hands dragging along the board. There we go. So obviously the 2mm part there is a little bit too long for this now, but obviously what we will be doing is we'll be cutting it to the shape of the plastic, which only takes a couple of straight cuts to do. So we bend this part up into a three-sided box that will be used to shroud the foam part. And what we can do now, whilst that's just sitting there, see what I've done is I've lined up the cutouts in both of them, and that sits inside. And what I'll do whilst holding that firm is just take that off at the end of the plastic, like so. We haven't finished with that yet because we need to taper it, but that's all we need to do for now. And then we obviously just need to get that stuck into the plastic. So I'm going to slightly overbend the plastic so it's towing in slightly, which will make the whole process of sticking a lot easier. And then I'm just going to run some glue on either side of the spar. This is where it can get a bit sticky. Go. And down the base as well. Might as well. There we are. And now line those cutouts up again. And just pop that into place. Probably be quite a bit of glue squidging out. Just remove that. Okay, just check those are lined up, and then we can put that to one side, let that dry off for now. And then what we'll do is get our skin for our wing and get that out of the sheet. There we go. So there are a number of scores on this particular part. You've got your leading edge scores, so we'll bend it over like that, and that becomes the leading edge of the part. And you've also got the scores here that add the angular camber to the wings, like so. And then you've also got some scores here which indicate where the aileron is. So we can actually remove that from the part now, and it's a double score. So if you remove the score closest to the wing first, and then once the aileron is separated, we can take the other score off the aileron, and this is just to allow there to be a gap between the aileron and the wing to make it easier for it to move. There we go. So there are a number of things that we need to do to this wing as well. I haven't got the guide here with me to show you where you need to add your chamfers. but essentially on this wing it needs to go from the graphic area here forwards around the tip there as well, all down this edge here, and that's about it. So let's start on that, and I'm going to do the long edge first. I'm going to get my straight edge, which is probably a couple of millimeters thick. Just put the edge on there, and then use my sanding stick to just put a shallow bevel onto that edge. There we go, that'll do. Now you can carefully add our chamfer to the tip. Obviously what we don't want to do is start sanding away the graphic there, so I can be extra careful around there. And then we want a nice shallow bevel so that when it comes to building the wing up, folding the parts over, then these edge pieces should be able to push together so that we don't see too much of the white edge, and we get the graphics, the coloration, the red in this case, to basically come together at the tip. There we go. So now what we need to do, now we've got our bevels in place, is reattach our aileron, and at the same time also attach our torsion rod. Now you'll see on the aileron there's actually a little indicator there of where the rod sits. So just there. And if we introduce that to the wing itself, you'll also notice there's a little notch in the wing there, which indicates where this rod actually exits the wing at the shoulder of the wing, right there. So, with that in mind, the other thing to take note of is this. Obviously, these are handed, these torsion rods, and this one is this orientation here. So you can see. So essentially, when this is actually attached to the wing, the top of the wing is here, so that the torsion rod is poking up from the wing, as the wing is low on the fuselage and underneath the control arm of the servo, so it needs to go up through the control arm to be controlled. So let's start with attaching our aileron, and we use our traditional age-old method of hinging using our stickers. So we're looking at S10S and S9S. So the final S stands for starboard, this is the starboard wing. So let's just remove S9S. Now this has a good lump of sticker. Not only the hinge, but it's also got this sort of larger area here, and this is for actually capturing the torsion rod in place there. So and this has got, you'll see on the on here, like on the rudder on the fuselage, you've got these little notches here which show you where the gap is between the aileron and the wing. So we've captured our control arm right in the gap there, which is exactly where we want it, because that's what the pivot point. And then we can move on to S10S, which sits at the tip of the aileron, and once again has these little notches in to show where the gap is, and also a little bit of graphic there too, which we can use to line it up. There we go. So now we can attach the aileron to the wing. And in fact, if I turn that over, I can actually control that gap a little easier. There we go. So our control rod, yep, that's fine. That all looks good. Everything lines up nicely along the wing. Very happy with that. So now we just need to secure our wire here, because at the moment it's sort of wobbling around a little bit. To do that, we just have a few stickers here. They are numbered S11 and S11. And we can literally just pop the sticker over the wire so it sits centrally like so, and do exactly the same at the other end up close to the aileron. So if we just pop that there, go. And the stickers, funnily enough, don't hinder the movement of the rod at all when it's rotating, which is good news for us. So what we need to do now is just finish off our spar by trimming the end there. I'm going to use my little ruler here just so I can do that nice and accurately. Set. There we go. And to this we just need to attach V18, which is the littlest of our ribs. There we go. Let's add our rib to our spar, V18, attaching V18 to the spar. It's literally that slot there, intertwining with that slot there, like so. It should be a nice easy fit. And of course we just need to add a dab of the glue to get it into place. There we go. So this rib sits right at the root of the wing itself. Essentially, it sits right on the fold. It also, when we're adding it to the wing, we need to make sure, because obviously we've got a taper running up there, but then the taper accelerates on one side and maintains its taper on the other, and the part that accelerates up at a greater angle, that's the underside of the wing. So the underside of the wing on here is this side here. So when we attach it to our wing, we want the sort of plastic adorned side of the spar to be facing downwards, like so. And this applies to both wings. And the actual rib itself can come right up to the edge, flush with the edge of the root of the wing, like so. So now let's just get that put into place. Very simply, add some glue down its spine, and across the bottom of the rib, like so. And then we can literally pop that into place. Bend our wing slightly, because the rib, being the 2mm foam, is quite flexible. So we'll make sure it's not over stretching itself. And then we can just leave that to dry off, and then we'll be able to fold the wings over and create our starboard wing. With the glue now dried, we can just do a quick dry fit just to make sure that the wing folds over. And what we want is that this trailing edge here to meet with the back of the wing where the aileron sits. And if that's nice and straight along there, we should have a nice straight wing without any twists in it. So that's where we want the wing to come together, and of course we've also got to make sure that the tip comes together as well. So we'll start adding our glue and just glue all the areas that are going to come together. So across the top of the rib, down the spine here, we'll also glue along the wing there that's going to come across the top of that rib, and then all the way down the chamfered area down the back there. In fact, we'll just give it another quick coating, and then at the tip of the wing too, where we're going to bring the two pieces of 1mm foam together. There we go. And then we'll run some. When you're putting glue anywhere near the torsion rod, just be careful you don't get any on the torsion rod itself, because that can actually stop it or restrict it from rotating. So you'll notice I've put glue on both surfaces, and then we'll just allow the glue to dry off, and then we'll use it as a contact adhesive. So we'll probably give that about 10 minutes. Okay, let's bring the wing together. So we're just literally going to fold over. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I get the rear edge of this wing together, like so. And then I'm just going to make sure that I squish it down. Now you can see I'm actually holding it off the desk. That's because obviously we've got the control lever there for the aileron poking down, so I can't pop it flat. But I can, once I've got that there, I can pop it the other way up and just give it a good press down, like so. And then I can use my ball tool to finish off here. So I'm actually going to squidge the tips, or the two skins on the tips together, like so. I'm doing that on both sides. This tool is very useful for this sort of work. Well, I can, while I'm here, why not? I'm actually on the sides that actually are double printed and don't have a second skin. I'm just going to run that around the edge too, just to give a little more of an aerodynamic trailing edge. I'm going to take this to the side of my table, which you won't be able to see, but I'm just going to literally run the ball down that edge there. There we go. So I'll do it that side as well. So there we have it. So we've got both our wings here now, and what we need to do is attach them to the fuselage. Now we've got some protruding parts from the wing root of both of our wings. Obviously, one is the torsion rod for control of the aileron, and the other one is the SPAR that goes the full length of the wing, and will hopefully provide us with the dihedral we need for the lower wing in this biplane. you may remember when we were putting the fuselage together that the holes that we cut out that were marked with a score for the ends of this spar to go into were actually slightly angled to induce the dihedral. Right, there's a little bit of a technique to this, and we're going to dry fit first because we need to check that our aileron is sitting neutrally whilst being in the control arm on the servo. So the way we do this is we'll first bring the wing up right like that, so we can insert our control arm into the reinforced hole that's in the side of the aircraft. So we'll do that, and that should then allow us to slowly push the rod up and through the hole in the servo arm that you can see there. Now, once it's in and you're past the elbow, you should be able to, as you can see here, I've got the tip of the spar against the hole in the fuselage. So you should then be able to pop that into the hole like so, and the wing should then fit nicely onto the aircraft and sit beside the fuselage like so. And then you can take a look. Firstly, let's check the dihedral. So I'm just looking from the front here, looking at the dihedral that I've got, and that looks good. It's certainly sitting nicely in the void area that we created when we built the fuselage. And I'm looking at the torsion rod and where it sits on the control arm. It's central in the slot, which is great, and also my aileron is, well, I wouldn't say it's neutral, it's slightly lower. You can see there, slightly lower. So if I move that in the slot, you can see that that'll actually the arms moving at the same time there. You can see, but I could do with a little more of the up aileron, which means that the rod here, I really need to twist that slightly, or give it a slight bend, so that I can bring the aileron up while keeping it in that neutral position, which would mean that I have to bend it back slightly. So this the rod that comes up vertically needs to be bent slightly back. So what I need to do is then I need to remove the wing and give it a little bend. So let's do that right now. I'm going to take the spar out of the fuselage first, and then just rotate that up like so. So I'm just going to grab a substantial pair of pliers. So there we go, like that. And I'm just going to give this a little tweak backwards. You can see what I'm doing. I'm holding it at the elbow there. I'm just going to tweak that backwards, just a jot. There we go. So I don't know if you can actually see that. There's just a slight rake backwards on the rod there. So let's get it fitted. Repeat that process. There we go, and I don't think I bent it back enough. It seems to be in exactly the same position, so I obviously didn't change a thing. So I'll go through that process again. You don't have to watch, and we'll get that slight rake increased slightly. So I think I've put extra in there now. Let's give it a quick test. As you can see, it's nice and quick anyway to check. So you could do this multiple times, and so there. That's much better. That's absolutely bang on now, which is fantastic. So now I can just glue this in place. So I'm once again just going to remove it, put some glue where it's needed. So literally going to add some glue at the root of the wing. There. Going to put a little on the spar, and then some at the back there. Okay. And while the glue is still somewhat wet, just going to repeat the process again, making sure I don't get glue all over the fuselage at the same time. And bring that together like so. So while it's sitting there, I'm just going to take one of my paint pots, there we go, and I'm just going to rest it on there so I can just make sure that the dihedral is induced into the wing while the glue dries, and then we'll go on and fit the other wing. So now we've got both wings on. So I went through the same process on the other side. Once again, had to bend the wire back a little bit, so we've got nice neutral ailerons now. You can see if I flex that one up, that one moves slightly. So just with a little bit of play in the system. Obviously, we've got our dihedral set, making sure that our wings are sitting level, both at the trailing edge on the fuselage and on the leading edge too. So all happy with that. And the other thing that I like to do once the wings are set is get some of the hard stuff, something like the rocket odorless foam friendly CA, and just run a little bead of it down the wing root, just to add that little bit of strength to the bond between the two parts. There we go. I just put it across the top there. Put my little smoothing stick as well, just to make sure it wicks into the gap. There we go. So we can let that all set now.